Hello and welcome to this next tutorial. If you're following along, load up your previous file where you have your color changing background plus your text that we did in the previous video. And what we're going to do today is we're going to create some pulsating, sparkling stars to add to this. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to come up to composition, new composition, and we're going to call this stars. And we're going to change and take off this lock aspect ratio, and we're going to adjust our width to 400 with our height of 400. We're going to leave everything as it is, so you should have square pixels, frame rate 24, resolution 4, and at 10 seconds with the background color of black. Press OK. And so you're going to get a small box. Don't stress about this. What we're now going to do is we're going to come down here to our layer area and we're going to right mouse click and we're going to select new shape layer. And although there's nothing on our screen right now, we can see that it has added a layer to our layers panel down here. We're going to open this up and we're going to look for this little add button. We're going to click that and we're going to go up to ellipse and select that. Then we're going to select this add button again and we're going to come to fill. And so you'll see now that you have a circle in the middle of your screen. Let's play around with this and change its color to something like a yellowish, bit of a starry color and hit OK, making sure that our stroke is at 0 or negative. We're now going to come down here to our ellipse path and we're going to open that up. And we're going to now change the size of our circle. Perhaps we want it a bit bigger or a bit smaller, but right now we're going to go for a little bigger, say around 230. Now we're going to come down to our add button again, and we're going to select pucker and bloat. And it's going to change it and give it a few bumps, and that's okay. Now what we want to do is we want to open up our pucker and bloat, which will give us this amount panel here. And what we're going to do is this is where we're going to adjust it. And we're going to bring it to something, say, around about minus 40. And we're going to have this nice, really pretty star here. And what I want you to do now is I want you to select this one here that looks like a little stopwatch. Select that and it's going to create a keyframe for us. And we're going to come over now to 1 second. And we're going to reduce this again even more so that it comes out looking a little bit more like a star. And I feel right now that this perhaps is a little too big, so I'm also going to reduce its size so we can get these nice little pointed edges. And I'm going to leave it at that. So if we scrub through, we can see that it kind of pulses like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure our layer is selected, and we're going to hit S on our keyboard, and that is our scale function. And we're going to set a keyframe, making sure that we are at 0 and set a keyframe there. We're now going to hit U, and this is going to reveal all our keyframes that we have here. And what I will now want us to do is I want us to go halfway through between 0 and 1 second. And I want you to change this size here, set a keyframe here by selecting this button here. And we're going to leave that at 100%. We're going to come back to 0 frames and we're going to change this here to 0 so that you won't see any star at all. And now let's come over to 1 second and we're going to leave that again at 0. So then that way when we start scrubbing, we can see our star up and down. Now we are going to make sure again our layer is selected and we're going to hit N. And what that is going to do, or should have done, is going to cut it right here at 1 second. So make sure your scrubber is here at 1 second. I'll demonstrate that again. So making sure our scrubber is at 1 second, and I'm going to hit N, and it's going to cut our timeline short so that we're looping it a little faster, as you can see. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just drag over and highlight every single frame that we have here, and we're going to hit F9, and that's going to ease our frames, our keyframes. And if we hit now, it's a bit more pulsating, as you can see. What we're going to also do is we're going to come into this here, which is our graph editor. And what we want to do is just in this layer here, we want to adjust it. So what we want to do is we just want to select this one, and we're going to just pull these out so that they're a little more rounded, like that. There. And then we can come back out of that and our spacebar again. And now we can see we've got a really beautiful pulse happening there. Now, once you have done this, let's come to our layer again, right mouse click and hit rename. And let's call this star and enter. So now what we need to do is we need to add a glow. So we need to select our layer here, right mouse click, come up to layer styles, and we want to select outer glow. And it's going to bring up this little area here for you. What we want to do now is we want to open up outer glow. And as you can see here, we're looking at our opacity. We want to change this so our opacity at the moment is at 100%. Let's scrub through our timeline halfway so we can have a look at what's happening. And we're going to come over to a color dropper here, and we're going to select the color that we have. We're going to then open up our color dropper, and we want to make this slightly darker than the color of our star so it will stand out nicely. Press OK. And now we're going to come over to our size. And this is where we can adjust it so we can change the size of our glow, as you can see here. And I think I'm going to do about 25%. But what I also might do is I might also come back to my opacity, and I'll just dial that down a bit as well. So my opacity is now at 65%, and I'm going to press the space bar and have a look at that and see how that looks. And that gives it a really nice glow. Once you have finished this up, now just make sure everything's closed up, neat and tidy. Come over here to your composition panel and double click master. And you're probably thinking, where did my star go? Well, don't worry, your star is right here in this composition here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to select our stars composition, and we're going to drag it onto here and making sure that it is on the top layer. And we know already right now that this only goes for about 1 to 2 seconds. So we're going to drag this over to about 2 seconds. And if we hit the space bar, we can see that our star has come up. And we know that that kind of comes up a bit early. So making sure that we've got our selection tool here, we can now drag this anywhere we like on our screen. We can also use our rotation tool here, and we can rotate our star as well. And because I want it to come out a little late, I'm going to have it maybe start around here. And yep, that looks great. So now we can make sure that our stars layers is selected, and we can duplicate this again by hitting either Windows D or Control D. Let's duplicate that twice. Let's come into our second layer, and we're going to offset that a little bit. Scroll through to see where you can see it, and let's change the size of it by looking in, dropping down here, go to transform, and come in here to our scale, and let's make it a bit. We're going to have a look at where our other star is because we know it's in the same spot, and we're also going to move it around. So let's move it maybe here, and again rotating this. having a look at that. And basically just keep playing around with things. You've got another star here. Let's add another star here. Let's make it come on around the same time as the other star does, but let's make this one a lot smaller. Oopsie. I need to make sure I've got this one selected. And we need to come into our transform into this one as well. And let's make that super tiny. And let's have a look at, yes. So that looks really great. So this you can get a bit more creative freedom and you can add more stars into your scene and have a play around with it. If you want to create different colored stars, you're going to need to go through this video again and create a second star composition with a different color. If you try and change the color on this star's composition, it will do it for every single star that you currently have. So once you have finished that, make sure that you save your file again, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial.